Welcome to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Folks, an author is a storyteller, and the best storytellers can transport us from our own humdrum, mundane lives into someone else's fantastical stories, often causing us to literally jump or shout in surprise, even if you're on the subway. True story. My next guest has told a lot of stories and he's written a lot of books, some of which have even been adapted for major motion pictures. And still, he has somehow found the time to use his voice and his own money to help take down one of the biggest threats to our democracy back in the 2020 election. Now, this prolific writer is in the midst of a major tour to promote his highly acclaimed new novel, City on Fire. And he's made the time to answer some questions for us. So please join me in welcoming my guest today, author, activist, Don Winslow. Don, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Brooklyn Dad. It's great to be here.
Thank you. So, as we often do at the start of the show, this is where I hit you with my hardest hitting questions
Uh-oh.
I'm ever going to hit anybody with. And here it is. This is the one that people want to know.
All right.
Is it true that you play the saxophone?
Oh, man. How did you get that? Some people are going to be in big trouble, man. This is over. Yes, Brooklyn Dad, it is true. I play the saxophone. I play it very badly. I play it literally in a soundproof room. what what is my office in California in the back room used to be for massage therapists, and for some reason it creeps me out. She soundproofed it, but it works out well for me because I go in there to play the saxophone. But I will have you know that I was an all-state Rhode Island baritone saxophone player in high school.
Really?
Yeah, there were six, so.
And that's where you grew up in Rhode Island?
That's where I grew up, in Rhode Island, exactly, yeah.
Okay. And is that also where your new novel takes place?
It is. It takes place in my hometown. It's the first time I've said a book in my hometown,
Excellent. Okay, so I'm going to get to your new novel in a minute. But first, I want to ask you about the tour. So you're in the middle of this tour to promote your book.
Yep.
How has the situation been with flying based on the recent no mask mandate announcement? Is it problematic for you?
A little bit. I've been wearing a mask in the airport and on the planes, but I'm going to guess that maybe 20% of the people I see are wearing masks.
20%?
Maybe. That's high. I mean, that's on the high end, including, by the way, staff. If you go up to one of the desks, the person may or may not be wearing a mask.
So nobody even gives a damn, basically.
I don't know what people's attitudes are, but apathy would seem to rule. Yes. Listen, I've been wearing it, because I think it's probably the good thing to do. It is definitely, but you don't see a lot of people with masks on.
Okay. Now about this, your book signings, do you feel like a rock star at these events?
No, I don't. Look, you know what I feel like? I feel like a writer who hasn't gotten to see his readers for a long time. Every material thing I have in this world, I owe to readers and to booksellers. And so I feel like a guy who's going out and saying thank you and trying to make a connection, a real sort of human connection with people. And that's great. It's fun.
I gotta say, Don, I love that that attitude. Because I mean, there's a lot of us. There's a lot of us here. Like inside, I'm fangirling right now.
Come on. Jeez.
um, Here, let me ask you another question
Yeah.
about uh, writer's block.
Yeah.
How do you defeat writer's block?
I don't admit of its existence, right? It's sort of the whistling past the graveyard thing, right? If you don't think it exists, it's not going to bite you. It's not going to, leap out of a grave and grab you by the ankle. What I think writer's block really is, if I kind of analyze it, it's
Hmm.
trying to write perfectly on the first draft. And you can't do that. You really can't. And so what happens is as you're typing, you're trying to make it perfect, right? And you can't do that. And so you lock up. The machinery seizes up. So what I try to do is write very fast on the first draft, knowing I can come back and fix what's wrong.
Excellent. That is an excellent answer. And so the reason I'm asking you this, I am fascinated. It was only about a month or two ago that I saw you. You might have tweeted this, or maybe I saw it in an article. But you got roughly about 24 novels to your name, give or take,
Yeah, sounds about right.
and
Yeah.
it goes back to about 1991.
Yeah.
But I saw you say that you became kind of like an overnight sensation in your mid 50s.
Yeah.
And, I'm fascinated by that because I just hit 54, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you, you
So,
are you are a sensation, so you don't need it. But yeah, I was I was 55 and called an overnight success. Now it was a long night, but, but and I was 7 published books into my career before I could quit my day jobs even. But I
mm,
found the right representation. I found my buddy Shane, and that turned things around. So I'm always telling young writers, don't give up.
and you've had like over the years, you've had a bunch of kind of odd jobs, I guess you could call it, right? You're like a movie theater manager and private investigator.
Yeah, yeah, I was both those things. I went to New York to become a writer, and of course, like everybody else, within weeks, I was a starving writer. The New Yorker did not sign me up straight away, and so I got a job managing movie theaters. When you were managing movie theaters in those days, you learned all about theft because basically movie theaters were glistening walls of theft. Everyone was stealing from everybody on every level. I
Mm,
got fired for turning in a honest set of box office figures. And because I knew how the embezzlement now worked, I could go undercover and discover it elsewhere. And then I
mm.
stayed with that agency and did a lot of sort of low level street work in New York. You know, so yeah, movie theater, private investigator. I went back to school. I had a BA in African history. Uh,
Wow.
I went back and got an MA in military history. So now I'm a specialist in African military history. Uh,
Wow.
I was supposed to go into the State Department, with that specialty, but it was the Reagan years, and I didn't want to.
Yeah, sure.
So a buddy of mine had started a little photographic safari firm based in Nairobi, Kenya, and he needed a number two, and he asked me to join him. I had the languages and I had some of the bush skills, and so I became a safari bum for about 5 years.
Wow. That's, that is that's just phenomenal. It's like you kind of you lived your life by saying, you know what, I'm going to do some things. I want to see some things. I want to live life. I want to take this orange and squeeze all the juice out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I came from this little town on the East Coast in Rhode Island. Uh, very parochial, very provincial, but very nice.
Hmm.
But I had this fascination with Africa. I think most people approach a fascination with Africa because of the animals. I was certainly interested in them, but I was more interested in the people and the cultures and the history.
Hmm.
And I had to find a way to get over there. I don't come from money. And
Right.
so
Right.
wherever I traveled or wherever I went, I had to make it pay for itself. And so I found these jobs.
That is very cool. Let me fast forward now to back to your book writing. You wrote the book Savages, which ended up as a movie that I saw, which I enjoyed. Starred Aaron Taylor Johnson, Taylor Kitsch, Blake Lively, Benicio del Toro, Salma Hayek, and John Travolta. And I truly did enjoy this. When you wrote this novel, did you picture this as being adapted as a movie?
Not instantly, but it happened very quickly. I remember I wrote the first 14 pages of this book in a burst, right? Just like sat down, had nothing in my head, just blah, you know. And I sent it off to my agent Shane Salerno and with a little note saying, either I'm crazy or this is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And he wrote back right away saying, drop everything else you're doing and finish this book, which I
Nice.
did. And it went to the movies very quickly and it got made very quickly. So I didn't have a film in mind when I was writing it, but it all happened so fast.
And I'm just curious, after seeing that, did that change your approach to writing? Did you start writing with that possibility in mind?
No, no. Look, I don't want to be disingenuous here. Almost everything I've ever written has been purchased or optioned by film or television. So I'm aware that that's going to be a real possibility. But
Hmm.
if I had that awareness in mind when I sit down to write, there are only two things that could happen, both of them bad. I'd write a bad film treatment or a bad novel, you know,
Interesting.
right? Because you can't do both. And so I deliberately take the film and television possibilities out of my head and sit down just to write the book. Now, anybody of my generation, our generation, would be foolish to say that we're not influenced by film and television because that's what we grew up with, right?
Right. Right.
So there are some times that I think cinematically, you know what I mean? I'm not thinking about the movie version of the book, but I'm
Hmm.
thinking, boy, do I need a close up here verbally,
Uh-huh.
right? Do I want to
Yeah.
get really close to the character or do I need to pull back? Is it sort of an establishing shot to set up a scene or a particular culture or something? So sometimes I'll think like that, but I won't think, yeah, no, how's this going to play in a film?
Where do you get the where do you source the facts or the details that give your novels that realistic flavor that when somebody's reading and they become so engrossed, you're not even on the page anymore, you're there. Where do you get those details and facts?
Yeah, it varies from story to story, right? I did these three big books on drug trafficking, on the Mexican drug cartels, and that
Hmm.
was a massive and constant research project. I started with history because I believe you have to have background to give the characters some weight, and then
Right.
I go to journalism, right, and then I go to documents, court records, FBI, police reports, redacted CIA reports, all that kind of thing. When I feel that I have enough base information that I'm not going to waste people's time, then I go
Mhm.
out to people, right? Then I try to insinuate myself into those worlds as much as I can, interview people, hang out, talk to people. Um, all of that stuff, contributes to the book, and you use very little of it. You know,
So wait, so you actually you speak to people and do you tell them I'm doing research for a novel?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, I'm very upfront with them.
Uh-huh.
I'm very upfront with them. I say, yeah, I'm a novelist. I'm going to fictionalize this. You're not going to appear. And I mean, the results are varied. Some people won't talk to you at all, and some people
Mhm.
are very forthcoming.
It's amazing. That's very cool. All right. They say you can never really pick a favorite child,
Huh.
but you can. You can. I will never admit it on
Well, should I
camera.
flip the question on you next?
No.
Okay. All right. All right.
But works of art, I think, would probably have that same rule. With that said, what's your favorite Don Winslow novel and why?
Boy, that's a tough one. Listen, you're always in love with your first book. It was your baby, right? So a cool
Mhm.
breeze on the underground. But if I, I really, the gun to your head question, that
Yeah.
question, yeah, it would probably be the cartel.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Because it was the
Hmm.
hardest to write. the hardest to research and the hardest to write.
You actually
And
went down to Mexico for that,
yeah,
didn't you?
yeah, sure, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, and it's funny. I was with an audience last night in Denver. Yeah, Denver.
Mhm.
And this guy came up to me, real conservative guy, and he said, I read The Cartel and it changed my thinking on things.
Wow.
You can't beat that.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
Very
it
cool.
was really cool. Yeah.
So, hang on a second here. Just give me a sec. All right. I've missed some slides, but that's fine. Nobody cares. Uh, your latest novel, City on Fire, is a three-parter. It's a three-part. It's a trilogy. But like the Lord of the Rings movie trilogy, you've already written all three books. What made you take that approach to to this project?
Well, I started this 20 some odd years ago, the first book, and I would set it down and pick it back up and set it down and pick it back up as I was doing other things. And I finally felt that I had the time and frankly, the talent to write this book.
Mhm.
Uh, and then it was delayed. The publication was delayed, by 6 months or more because of COVID.
Mhm.
Uh, and so I had the time and the leisure to sit down and write them.
Can you give our audience here a brief synopsis of the City on Fire story? I believe your protagonist is it Danny Ryan?
Yeah, yeah. When we meet Danny, he's a longshoreman and a fisherman. He marries the youngest daughter of the Irish crime boss in Providence. And for that reason, he gets dragged into a war that starts between the Italian American mafia and the Irish crime syndicate. So
Mm.
that's Danny. Yeah.
Okay. Your book is highly acclaimed. The reviews, the rave reviews are coming in. Here's one from Oh my God, Stephen King. I think if Stephen King were to review anything I did, I might drop dead right there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, it blows me away. I'm so honored, That's such a great writer and such a great guy, and for him to say things like that, what can I say?
Indeed. Now, you've recently announced that you are retiring from writing books. So this
Yes.
is it. Um, why now? And what will you do?
Well, why now? We're in a crisis in the country. I think we're in an existential moment in American democracy. And listen, I love this country.
Mhm, mhm.
I want it to be the very, very best that it can be, and we're threatened, with Trumpism and what I consider to be neo-fascism, uh, which we saw in very vivid terms on January 6th.
Yep.
And so I want to devote more energy, more time, more effort into that fight.
Indeed. And I think I've got here, this is a tweet you posted a few days ago. Webster's Dictionary changed their definition of retirement. Retirement, noun, the action or fact of leaving one's job in order to go to war against Donald Trump, Trump 2.0, and what has become of the Republican Party with a digital army of volunteers.
Right.
That's very well said. I actually have a clip. By now, most of our viewers are very familiar with what it is that you've done in this fight against Donald Trump and Donald
Yeah.
Trump 2.0. I wanted to share one of my favorite. There's so many. By the way, so many of these videos are just excellent. Did you write the script for the
Yeah.
narration for these?
Yeah. Shane and I work on these together. I do the
Okay.
Twitter and Shane and I do the videos. Yep.
I want to share one of my favorites. This one is called Trump's Evil Plan.
America, we need to have a tough conversation. We need to talk about what the next 98 days are going to look like. Trump can't run on the economy because he's destroyed it. And he cannot run on his response to the coronavirus because it is a disaster with 150,000 dead. So Donald Trump is going to play 3 cards in his final days before the election. Card number 1, he's going to start a civil war. He's going to sell hate.
Black lives don't matter at all to me. White lives matter.
He knows he doesn't have the black or Latino vote.
Look at my African American over here. They're rapists.
So his plan is to scare the hell out of white people.
You can't do the mail-in ballots because you're going to have tremendous fraud.
His entire campaign will boil down to, if you don't elect Trump, black and Latino people will fall from the sky and take over the country.
She got the gun on me. Get away. She got the gun on me.
With the full support of Bill Barr, Trump is sending officers into major cities to incite riots.
Violent rioters and anarchists.
He creates the images, then uses them to fundraise and scare white voters.
There is no one here to answer your emergency call.
Card number 2. He's going to promise a vaccine that is not remotely ready. Trump lies about everything, and he's betting that he can sell you on the promise of a vaccine before the election.
As soon as a vaccine is approved, which could be very, very soon.
It would take then about a year to a year and a half to be fully confident that we would have a vaccine that would be able to protect the American people.
And even then, it's complicated. Because the best case scenario is likely a 2-dose vaccine given 30 days apart to 350 million Americans. That's 700 million doses. Think about how badly testing went wrong. Do you think the vaccine is going to go much better? Card number 3. He's going to try an October surprise on Joe Biden. It will be big, loud, and another lie. And if history is any indicator, it will be widely covered by the media without any vetting. Trump can't run on his record, so he's going to run on fear and false promises.
Right, and then I see the disinfectant. And is there a way we can do something like that? By injection?
He'll promise anything to get reelected.
Well,
Wow.
there you go.
Wow. I mean, you called it. You called it. And that October surprise, that was obviously the Hunter's laptop.
Yeah.
And they tried and they failed. I think what people love about your videos is that you don't pull punches. Like, and when you jumped into the fray with your anti-Trump videos, you didn't just like wade gingerly into politics with a tepid, lukewarm tweet saying vote blue. No, you were like, both fists balled up, arms flailing akimbo. I'm coming for you, Donald Trump, you son of a bitch.
Well, but that's what we need. What we need, right? Because we're too nice. I love the Democratic Party. I love these people, but they can be too damn nice. Pardon my language. This is an alley fight.
You can say damn here.
We knew when we were going in against Donald Trump that this was gonna go into the alley, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's what they do. And so you have to have people who are willing and frankly able, metaphorically speaking, to go into the alley. I have no problem going into the alley. I grew up in, a little New England town, where people fished and you played hockey. And if someone was beating up on one of your buddies, you dropped your gloves and you went in, mm-hmm. And I guess that's been my approach.
Now, it's clear that you've got messaging down pat. Has anybody from the Democratic Party approached you and said, Mr. Winslow, you are very good at this. We'd love for you to work with this division. Has anybody?
We've had all kinds of people, call us and call me, but I want to do my own thing. Shane and I want to do our own videos. We don't take any money. We don't accept donations. We don't try to monetize this because we want our independence. I want to be able to write, on Twitter what I want to write. So yeah, I want to stay independent of all of that. Now we're always looking for allies, we're trying to build this army, the Twitter army. And so we'll, willing to talk and listen to anybody, but we want to maintain our own thing.
And tell me about this, digital army. I've seen you promote this in your hashtags quite a bit. It's the hashtag Winslow Digital Army. What is this?
What I'm trying to do is start something like a rapid response team like Obama had, right? Mm-hmm. So we have, enough people watching. We've got people out there so we can answer questions, we can answer issues as they come up. Bam, immediately. So the Republicans launch some sort of vile, lie. Bam, we can respond to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right away. Get on it before it gains momentum. Let's say, that Warnock falls behind in the polls. It's a bam against Walker. We can respond, instantly. And we want, to get a bigger and bigger message out. Numbers matter.
Indeed. Indeed. Okay, you guys hear it right there. So where is this group, the wins, have we figured out where we're meeting for meetings and such?
The meetings are secret. I'm joking with you.
I get it.
We're in early days, right? We're in early days in sending out this message, and as you can see, I'm on the road.
Yeah.
The response has been incredible. It's been amazing, heartening. Tens and tens of thousands of people, coming on and saying, "Yeah, I want in. I'm ready to fight." And as I'm going around, personally, to obviously, to groups in person. People are giving me their cards. They're giving me their addresses. They're saying, "What can I do to help? Here are my qualifications. Here's what I've done. What do I do to help? What do I do to help?" So the response has been amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a movement.
It's a movement.
I think a lot of people are fed up with the shit that has been going on, that the shit that the GOP has been throwing at the Democratic Party, and upset. Like, recently we saw, I don't know if you saw that video of Jamie Raskin really lighting into somebody on the floor. Marjorie Taylor Greene on the floor of the House. And that other representative, state senator, McMorrow.
Yes. McMorrow.
So our followers are hungry. They are hungry for somebody to fight back with both fists,
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. What I was going to say is that there's this growing appetite, I think, within the Democratic Party and its allies to start fighting, to start talking in plain, simple, and tough language. Let's call it what it is, because we all see what it is.
Yeah.
Right? We have a president on tape for an hour, right? Suborning 11,000 votes in Georgia. It's not a secret. We all heard it. We all watched on television, and I'm sorry if I'm getting over animated here, but we all watched on television those people incite a violent mob to attack the Capitol, intent on murder. And so I think people see these things, and I think that they're encouraged that some people are just willing to call it what it is. Again, plain, simple words, and fight back.
Thank you for that, Don. All right. We're at the part of the show where you get to share your Twitter tips and tricks. This is the Don Winslow Twitter tips and tricks. These are the things that make your tweets sing. They make them pop. They make people jump on them. Or it could be, how do you deal with trolls, or how do you organize
All right.
whatever.
Let me give it a little thought here for a second. Okay. Listen, writing's writing. Okay. Whether you're writing a novel or a screenplay or a joke or a tweet, you always have a purpose in mind. All right. So, the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright famously said, "Form follows function." I would say that style follows story. Yeah. And so you want to craft things toward that point, right? So sometimes in something as short as a tweet, that can turn on a syllable. One syllable too many, one syllable too few can ruin that very short message. So you want to be pointed towards something, and you really want to, if you will, craft that arrowhead so that it's pointed exactly at that, nothing more, nothing less. Okay, tip number 2, mix in a little humor. right? You know, if we're constantly just punching, and we need to punch, no
Yeah.
question, it gets monotonous,
Hmm.
you know. And so I like to mix it up with some funny things sometimes, you know, whether that's sarcasm and ridicule pointed at people I don't like
Hmm.
Donald Trump, you know, and his coterie of baboons. We'll go after them, you know. Uh, but sometimes you just, you know, it's nice just to sit back, let everyone take a little breath, right, and have a laugh, right, because
Excellent.
you got to laugh, particularly in these days. Tip number 3: dealing with trolls. You know, don't take the bait.
Don't feed the trolls.
Don't feed the trolls.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Don's Twitter handle here at Don Winslow. If you're not following him, you're missing some of the best content on Twitter right now. So it's at Don Winslow on Twitter. And also you can look for his hashtag, the hashtag Winslow Digital Army. Now, Don, I want to talk a little bit more about Twitter and specifically about Elon Musk. But first, we need to take a quick break. And we're back. That was a quick break. Okay, so you've heard, I'm sure by now, that that Elon Musk wants to acquire Twitter. Now, this deal hasn't gone through yet,
Right.
but you know he's got the financing. What are your thoughts?
Well, listen, not crazy about it, of course, but what I've been saying to people is don't leave. Don't leave. Stay on. Because, look, you have to fight the battle where it is. We
Yeah.
can't always choose our battlefields. You know, strategically, you'd like to. That's the ideal. I can tell you from military history, but
Mhm.
you can't always. And so, this is the battlefield we have. I'm encouraging people to stay and fight the battle where it is.
Here's your tweet here. It's from a few days ago. Even if Musk takes over, I urge people, especially resistors, to remain on Twitter for a very simple reason. Facebook is an aggressive propaganda machine for the far right and the beliefs and ethics of Donald Trump. We cannot concede Facebook and Twitter in this war. Very well said.
Well, it's the truth. You know, look, we cede too much. You know, we cede the concept of patriotism to the other
Mhm.
side. We let them have a monopoly on that, to the point where if you see a vehicle driving down the street with a big American flag in the back of that pickup truck, you automatically think Trumper or far righter, when
Right.
that flag belongs as much to me and to you, right? And to that recent immigrant as it does to them. So we can't cede all of these grounds. We can't cede patriotism. We can't cede morality. And, you know, at this point in time, we can't cede social media.
That's right. Do you have any videos in the works slamming Elon Musk?
Well, I'm not going to say what we have in the works.
that's, that's fair.
We don't
That's
do
fair.
trailers. Okay.
You don't want to lose the element of surprise.
No, that's right.
Absolutely. Okay, so now we are at the part of the show where there are viewers, some of our faithful viewers, who have questions for you that they wanted to ask. And so here we go. There's our first one here from Jonathan Slater. He says, your novellas have so much of what we see in Washington. What conclusions have you drawn from all you've seen?
Wow, that's a huge question, right? That's a big
Hmm.
question. You know, I've drawn a lot of conclusions. If I had to sum them up, you know, I would say, look, as a species, you know, humanity has a large range between the noble and the brave and the good, and also a capacity for evil, yeah, for corruption.
Hmm.
So what I would say at the end of the day, right, is over my years, you know, as an investigator and my years doing this kind of work, I have seen the lowest and the highest of what human beings are capable of doing, including in Washington, obviously.
Yeah.
And what we have to do, though, is always be trying to move in the other direction toward the highest.
Excellent. Our next question is from Linda, aka Fox Hill Dreams, and she wants to know, how do you see America in 5 to 10 years?
Wow. Big questions from your viewers here.
They don't mess around.
Don't mess around. They don't mess around. Well, it depends. I mean, the answer is it depends. We're in a big fight now. And whether we win or lose that fight, that is going to determine what America looks like in the next 5 to 10 years. Either we're going to save our democracy and move into a truly multiracial society,
Mm-hmm.
or we're going to lose it to the sort of shabby fascism that we see from Trump and his imitators. So what I would say to your viewer is, how do you want to see America in 5 to 10 years? And if you want to see America be multiracial and fair and democratic, then get in the fight.
Don, I got to say, it's very interesting that you said multiracial America, because I was just earlier today, there was a New York Times article talking about how Tucker Carlson has been used to stoke, the fear, the race fear in the whites in America. And it's just a really interesting topic. I think you hit the nail right on the head there.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think that there is a segment of the white population, obviously I'm a white guy, that is afraid of being replaced, that they fear that they're going to lose this country. It's an unreasonable, it's an irrational fear. Yeah, because who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares? People are people,
Enough said. We got Samantha B wants to know, how do you feel about getting out of the writing game, and do you think you'll ever go back to it?
Listen, never say never, but I've made my decision, and I'm firm on it now. I know what I need to be doing over the next period of time, and that's what I'm going to do.
Wow. Well, we will be watching and waiting to see what happens there. We love you, Don. We love you.
Love you back.
Okay, now this is my favorite part of the show. This is our guessing game.
It's just gonna get ugly. Okay.
I'm giving you a choice of 4 different categories, right?
Okay.
One is guess that 60s song, or we have name that Billy Joel song.
Yeah.
We have a game called I Should Have Known That, and this is like really basic trivia that you swear you should know.
All right.
And last but not least, we have name that movie character quote. What'll it be?
All right, I'm gonna roll big here and really embarrass myself potentially, and I'm gonna go with name that movie character quote.
Ooh.
I almost went with Billy Joel because the answer to each question is the Piano Man, but I actually love Billy Joel. Okay, name that movie character quote. This is gonna be awful.
And
I'll never hear the end of this.
If you get it right, I will strike the cowbell. To celebrate. If you get it wrong.
All right. This is not going to be good.
Here's the first one.
You can't name that Shakespeare quote or something like that, right? It has
no.
All right.
Are you not entertained?
I have no idea.
No, nothing?
No, nothing.
We were looking for Maximus Decimus Meridius from the movie Gladiator.
The only way I would know that is from The Sopranos with Joe Pantoliano quoting it. That's why it struck a slight bell in my head. All right.
It's okay. I have faith in you. I know you're going to get
your faith is misplaced. Okay, go ahead.
Here's the next one. You shall not pass. I'm shaking two staffs in my hand. You shall not pass.
I don't know. I don't know it. And I just lost you.
Wait. Uh-oh. Let's see. Oh, it looks like Don is having some internet issue here. His video. Don, can you hear me? Because your video is still there. It's just dark. It's just dark, but I don't hear you. But while we wait, we'll do a little dun 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 dun. Girl from Ipanema goes walking. Come on, Don. Come on back. We're waiting for you. Or you could just go, if you can hear me, you can go back to the link I sent you. And okay. You can go back to the link I sent you and just pop back in to the studio. It's no fear because I got to be here anyway. I live here. Anyway, this is Brooklyn Dad in the middle of some technical difficulties being experienced by our friend, Don Winslow. And we're just going to wait for him to pop back. He is at a hotel, and he is at a hotel somewhere in the state of Texas, where he is in the midst of his book tour. So far, thus far, we've had, we got some people saying more BDD song. I don't know why he didn't pick Billy Joel. Billy Joel would have been good. They don't all have to be Piano Man, they can be something else. But here, I also have another video that Don Winslow produced, and this is called Shocking Questions.
We love you. You're very special.
Why wasn't Donald Trump evacuated to the terror attack bunker in the White House during the January 6th attack like he was for the May 29th, 2020 protest? How did the rioters know to target unsecured windows at the Capitol? How did they find Jim Clyburn's secret office?
My question is, how did they know where that office was?
Why hasn't a single Republican member of Congress that was involved with January 6th been subpoenaed?
I'm the guy who came up with the idea of January 6th when I was talking with Congressman Gosar, Congressman Andy Biggs, and Congressman Mo Brooks.
Who planted pipe bombs outside Republican and Democratic headquarters the night before the attack?
Okay, you guys, that's enough filler for now. I just got an update from one of Don's assistants who says that the Wi-Fi in the entire hotel, excuse me, has gone out, and they say it's going to take a half an hour to get that Wi-Fi back up and running. So where we were in this guessing game was "You shall not pass." Does anybody know where that quote, what movie that quote is from? You shall not pass. Oh shit, Claudia says the grid in Texas died? No way. Is that for real? Okay, so we got Lee Saunders guessing LOTR, which is Lord of the Rings. That is correctamundo. And the person, let's see, the person was Gandalf. Yes. What'd you guys think of my impression? That was pretty good. You shall not pass. It was pretty good. It is really unfortunate that we lost Don at the end of this, because I thought that interview was going very well. And I think he is very personable and gave terrific answers. Damn, but is that for real? Somebody, Claudia just told us that the grid went down in Texas. Is that confirmed? Sarah B is saying she's in Texas. The grid in Texas. Texas ain't shit, huh? God damn. I mean, oh no, philosophy is saying the grid isn't down. Well, some people are saying it is, and some people are saying it isn't. No, it's not true. Okay. Next up, we have what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Does anybody know what movie character said that? If you don't know the character's name, you can guess the movie. Okay, we got a guess for the movie, and that guess is from EPC. The name of the movie was Taken. The name of the actor was, or excuse me, the character was Brian Mills. Brian Mills, Taken. Taken. Good job, you guys. All right, next one. Very nice. That's the quote. Very nice. I am sure Don would have gotten this one. I'm sure of it. I'm putting it out there. He would have definitely gotten that one. Anybody want to guess what movie character said the very nice? Okay, and we have some correct answers. The correct answer we were looking for is Borat. And the first person to guess correctly was Synth Fan Borat. And we got a bunch of other correct guesses as well. Okay, and the last one, I only did 5 for this one because I knew Don already had a very tight schedule. We were going to try to speed through this. I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me? That's the last. Who said that? I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me? That is the who said that? Dun 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 dun. Ra-da-da-da-da. Okay, so I see some answers here. We're looking for Jack Burns, which was the character played by Robert De Niro. So EPC got that correct. And let's see. Meet the Fockers. Lori B said it's from Meet the Fockers. And let's see. Did anyone guess nope. Mr. Focker, nope. De Niro. Did anybody guess Jack Burns? No, I don't see it. Okay. Anyway, truly, as I said, truly unfortunate, but there was some very interesting things we learned from Don Winslow during this interview. Number one, make sure you look for that hashtag Winslow Digital Army, where I suppose when he says he wants a rapid response thing. So, for instance, I've seen Don put out multiple times, he's put out rapid response videos that would deal with, I don't know, Madison Cawthorn, for instance. So if he has something he wants to say about a revelation that comes out about Madison Cawthorn, because he's not just about anti-Trump. He's also been about anybody who's trying to take down our democracy. And so that includes the Sedition Caucus, the Marjorie Taylor Greens and Lauren Boeberts and the Paul Gosars and the Mo Brookses, those people, it includes them as well. A reminder from my friend Karen Purdy to please don't forget to hit the like button. That like button, it looks like a hand with the thumbs up, like every single one of Donald Trump's stupid pictures. You ever notice, like, anytime you see somebody posing for a picture with Orange Foulias, they both have this stupid grin on their face and the thumbs up. It's so stupid. What is that all about? I mean, it's almost cult like. If you don't raise the thumb, you're not part of their secret club. I don't know. But I, for one, am truly impressed just with the fact that Don Winslow uses his own damn money. He doesn't have to, We have a lot of celebrities in this country, celebrities who have made millions and millions of dollars. And I guess technically Don Winslow is kind of a celebrity now, but he's not, he's not in front of the camera. He's not Robert De Niro. He's not a Brad Pitt. He's not those people we see in the movies all the time. Sherry Scary, thank you for the donation. He's not one of those guys. He's a guy. He's a writer. He's a successful writer, but nonetheless, he's just a writer who gives a damn about America to the point where he's like putting his money where his mouth is. I respect that. I respect the hell out of that because homeboy could be chilling on a beach. I know for a fact that producing videos, it ain't cheap. It's very expensive to produce those things. And to take the time and effort and energy out of your day to do that, when you don't even necessarily get the kind of recognition or appreciation you'd think you would get behind that, So I respect the fact that he does that. Also, the fact that people approached him. Oh, that was Samantha Hawkins, not Samantha B. Sorry about that. Samantha Hawkins and Samantha B. I respect that they approached him and he's like, nah, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to do this on my own. And he's retired so he could spend more time doing this. Me personally, sometimes I swear to God, I feel burnt out. I feel burnt out from this stuff. But, he's at the stage in his career where he's like, you know what? I got a family, I got a kid and a wife, and I care about what kind of world I'm leaving behind. And I love this country. And it ain't nothing more patriotic than that. I've seen some trolls say some shitty things about Don Winslow. How dare you? How dare you? Seriously, that guy puts his money where his mouth is. You shitty little troll. You sit there in your mother's basement typing nasty things about people because you're so miserable about your own damn life. You don't do anything. You don't create anything to improve or better this country. You just spew your hatred and your nonsense. How dare you, you raggedy bish. Monique Lee, thank you, my friend, for the donation. Thank you so kindly. And I want to thank you guys. I think I've been trying to delay, stall to see if maybe there was a possibility that Mr. Winslow would be able to miraculously jump back on with us. And I had some questions I was going to ask him. Maybe if we're lucky, we can get him back to the show at a later date. I did have some questions I was going to ask him. Things like, what's his favorite airport? That's important to know, I think. He's traveling a lot, quite a bit. Who's his favorite author? Favorite literary character? Favorite singer or group? And let's see. So let me share some comments from the audience here. We have Bernadette saying she has mad respect for Don Winslow and the work he does. Thank you for having him on, BDD. Yeah, I'll have you guys know, I rehearsed that intro. I wrote that intro. I was so proud. Seriously, I said I was fangirling. I wasn't kidding. Like that dude, mad respect. Philosophy seems to think that angry BDD is the best BDD. I don't know about that, but thank you for that. Laura Smith says Don Winslow is amazing, but staying for your ad libs and really enjoyed your girl from Ipanema stall. That was good. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say, folks. I thank you for joining me on this Saturday afternoon. And if indeed the Texas power grid is down, shame on you again, Greg Abbott. And if it's not, Greg Abbott, get off your ass and do something about that power grid anyway, because summer's right around the corner. It's gonna go down again, you know. Dun, 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 dun. The girl from Ipanema. Okay, so guys, again, Saturday afternoon story time with BDD. This was an interview with Don Winslow, and I thank you for joining us. A reminder to those of you who have not yet gotten your shot, what the hell are you waiting for? Go and get that shot. That's number one. Number two, if you are so inclined to wear a mask, maybe it's not such a bad idea if you're in a small, tight space with a bunch of people you don't know where they've been, where their mouths and their lungs have been. So maybe wear the mask, keep your social distance 6 feet or better. And Lee Saunders wants to know, when's the next show? The next show will be Wednesday, Hump Day, 5:30 p.m. We will be speaking live to the opponent of Marjorie Taylor Greene, none other than Marcus Flowers. So don't miss that episode. It's going to be a doozy. 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Wednesday, aka Hump Day. Be there or be square. And that's it. I will see you next time. Same place. I love you all. Peace.